What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Questions You Never Thought to Ask, the Whitewater Kayak podcast. My name is Seth Ashworth. This week I've got an exciting, fun episode chatting with Adriene Levknecht about the Green River Narrows race, which is a big extreme race, I guess you could call it, coming up next month or the start of next month. Pretty interesting stuff. Before we get started, I'd like to say a big thank you, shout out to the people who support this podcast on Patreon. Those people chip in a couple of bucks every month and help me kind of keep this podcast live and keep it going, and I thoroughly appreciate them. And if you would like to become one of those people who helps keep this podcast going, check that out on patreon.com/Seth Ashworth. All right, enjoy. This week, I'm talking with the undisputed queen of the green, Adriene Levknecht, about all things green race. It's fall, it's race season, and what some people describe as the greatest show on earth is coming up here in just a few weeks. Adriene, welcome to Questions Ever Thought to Ask.
Hey Seth, how's it going?
Just excellent. Adriene, you are a how many time winner of the green race in the females category?
I have won the green race 10 times now.
So it's pretty fair to say that you know the fast lines.
I can most of the time find the fast lines, sometimes
And
not so well.
For people who don't know the green very well or don't understand the green race scene or why some people in that area describe it as the greatest show on earth, can you give us the lowdown, like the 411?
Yeah, so this race, we're going into our 24th year, and every year it's just grown more and more. We have around 180 racers every year, and what we think is maybe 2,000 people hike in 3.5 miles and down into this gorge. And so you start racing, and there's hikers kind of dotted around, and then you get down to Gorilla, and it's like you're essentially surrounded by people. You're in a stadium of humans, and in an area where it's usually pretty barren of hikers or just people in general, except for kayakers. It's pretty powerful to come down the river and be able to see that. And it's a bunch of either local people who just want to come and see the show, or kayakers from all over the whole East Coast, and they just come down to the green race to see the carnage most of the time.
Yeah, it is pretty berserk, and I think a lot of the best kayaking carnage videos that come out in the interwebs often feature green race carnage. Why do you think that is?
Because it's the best carnage. I mean, it is, okay. So the race, I don't know if anybody watched the video of Rush Sturgis attempting to race the green race. If you have children, don't let them watch it because there's a lot of swear words in it. But that is kind of the reason why this race is how hard it is. It's only a half mile long, but pretty much every rapid is a must-make move, and there are rocks everywhere. And there's some really impressive crashes. Between Go Left and Gorilla, the potential for really impressive wrecks are pretty solid.
It's interesting that you brought up Rush's shit talking there. I did want to talk about shit talking a little bit later, but since we're kind of already naturally there, I'd love to talk about that a bit more. One of the big parts of the green race is the shit talk build up, and there's a lot of great Facebook pages that people like me who are not in the area get to follow. Especially the top level guys just really ripping on each other about how they're going to be the best. And that example that you gave there of Rush when he was there a couple of years ago, he was just in full Rudy Rampage, like motor mouth mode, which was pretty glorious to see. Is that like a normal part of the green race scene? Like, will everyone be affected by that? Or will first time people be affected by that that shit talk vibe?
I've not moved away from it, but the people that I do more shit talking with are the people who I've been kayaking with for 15 years at this point. And Jason Hale always gives out the pre race lecture to people about not crashing and don't look bad and all this other stuff. And I think you have to be immune to it. Going into the green race, like you have to know that you've put in the time, that no matter what other people say or ask or do or whatever, that it's your race. That race course is your course for 5 minutes, and the only person that's in control is you. And so, no matter all of the shit talking that goes down, like in that 5 minutes, you are the only one in control of it. So, um, it's it's definitely there's a there's a lot of shit talking that goes on, but it's a lot of it is very friendly and not meant to be like hurtful or non-inclusive.
Yeah, for sure. It always seems like fairly good natured, and I imagine that people who are new to the scene are get a bit of a free pass early on, versus the people who are like kind of established and dish out as well as take it.
Yeah, and I think it also deems off your friends, right? Like you always
Yeah.
give your friends the best shit, and that's the best part. Like I texted John Grace this morning, him and I paddled just this morning, and I was like, "Don't rope me into doing anything." And I was like, "Cause I have a bunch of stuff to do in the next 2 weeks, and one of them is to beat you in the green race." And he's just like, "Ah," like it's already starting. I just
So
got
for
home from
people,
Scotland 2 days ago, so
so you've been on vacation mode. You're not even in full training mode yet.
oh, no, like and I'm sick, like, I have an awesome cold right now, and, like, yeah, I took my first longboat lap today, since essentially the green race last year.
So for people who are new to the green race, like, is it too late to start training? Like, could you still come down there and show up and do okay?
I mean, what's your definition of okay? It's like, so the green this year is an abnormally low level. Like so low to the point where I snuck go left today and I did not run gorilla. And I won't run gorilla until I absolutely have to. The pad is
And is that
breaking.
because there's too many rocks now?
I mean, the pad is breaking at gorilla, and so it's just not the way that it always is. Like it's not the beautiful launching pad that you see on the videos right now. It is like a silverback monkey that wants to slightly eat you and throw you into the right wall very violently.
I paddled there one time, and like probably 6 or 7 years ago, and it was I guess a normal flow, but obviously coming from the Ottawa, it's like there's water everywhere, and you rarely touch a rock. To go to like the line is intentionally touching rocks. I did not understand why people were so hyped about it, and I could not imagine what that river would be like with less water. It almost seemed like there was barely enough to get down.
Yeah, it's pretty savage out there right now. Yeah, but it's green race season. You can't really it really means that people are coming into this with a relatively equal playing field. Like this is gonna whoever wins the green race this year is like someone who has been doing attainments for like the last 10 months and like is just really strong and immune to being tired.
So what's a good strategy for first time racers in their training if you're like, this is it, this is my year, I'm going down to the green or going up to the green, like, or going across to the green. What should people know? What's the good strategy for those first timers?
Just make sure that you know your lines, like visualization, super awesome. Making sure that you're comfortable in your boat. So whatever craft you're using, whether it be a longboat or a short boat, make sure that you've gotten laps in that craft, in that exact craft. And then also just know that really your goal for your first time should just be to make it down. You're not going to break any speed records. You're not going to beat Pat Keller. It's just not the way it works the first time that people race. And it's not even just like the
Why is
race,
that?
because it's not just the race. Like coming around the corner at Gorilla and seeing 1,000 people in front of you, a first time racer is not going to be immune to that. It doesn't matter how like good you are, unless you're Mike Dawson, which is what he did.
Yeah, you guys are savage. How many laps do you think is the minimum amount of laps people should have before they try and do the race?
So the first time that I raced, I'd only run Gorilla 3 times. I think I'd done 5 or 6 laps. And I knew the lines well enough to be pretty comfortable. But I vividly remember sitting at the starting line and being like, all my only goal was to make it down. Like that was legitimately my only goal. And that was in 2006. And yeah, like I just wanted to keep it clean. And at that point, smooth is fast. And being smooth means you're being clean.
Okay, what do you think is the right time for a first time with someone's race? How will someone know when they're ready for green race?
When you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
I don't know. I mean, that's a hard one. Like, why are you racing? That's a really big question. Like a lot of people race because like they want to prove it to themselves, but then a lot of other people are like, "Oh, I'm racing because my bro like talked me into it while we were wasted at the bar 6 weeks ago or something." Like, or I lost a bet or like that stuff. Like I just don't think that that's like really racing the green race for the right reasons. And but if you are out there for the correct reasons, which would be because you want to be able to share in a part of the greatest show in sports, then please come on down.
When you know, you know. All right, let's talk about the big three. There's like three big rapids on the green. Two of them in the race, like go left, which for people who don't know is like you go through this like kind of gross like slot, and then you go over a pour over through a smaller, grosser slot, where it's easy. A lot of people get stuck. Like I had a really bad swim there when I was down there. It's gross. A lot of people don't run it. What's up with that? Like, what's the deal? What do you think about it? What are some good strategies for people who are new to the green or green vets, but maybe need your wisdom, need your insight?
Oh man. Don't let your guard down. All that people ever talk about is gorilla, like the notch and gorilla. Nobody ever talks about go left until a few years ago we started opening up like the hot left line, like the not go straight because that opened up 2 years ago. The log shifted and it allowed us to enter in far left instead of having to make any sort of a turn. um, but it's like the potential that rapid, I think, gives up more carnage than any other rapid. That rapid for 2 years in a row was the downfall of Dane Jackson.
I
Where
think it's the only thing that stopped him being sub 4 minutes last year was he like had to spend 2 seconds smoking his face on that rock.
yeah, I mean it's injured that rapid has injured more people on the green than any other rapid. It's taken me out before. Snowy, my ever loving husband, has never even run it because he's like, nope, my shoulders are too expensive. I will never run that rapid. And so, yeah, it's a really nasty slot. I've been flat pinned in there in a longboat before. Andrew Holcomb hulked me out. And yeah, I think you just got to spot your landing. That's my like I spot my landing on that rapid every time I go into it, and it's helped me a lot. And then lean right.
Yeah, it's just
If you
it's
really think you're
just
gonna
so
eat it,
gross.
lean right.
It's just so disgustingly gross. Oh my goodness. Just even thinking about it, I feel sick. It's like when I watch GoPro videos, I feel nauseous. What like seeing people go down there.
Oh, it's a beautiful drop.
I just didn't understand it either because it's like I the first time I did it, I just like rallied through and like bounced off that middle rock, and I was like, "That is disgusting." And everyone was like, "Oh, sick line, dude! That was really fast." And I was like, "I don't understand it down here. This doesn't make sense.
It's just a lot of rocks.
It's a
All the
lot of."
rocks.
Again, let's talk about the next of the big three, the Notch and Gorilla, which is like the big show where pretty much all the people are going to be. You know if someone's had a good line or not by the volume and intensity of the cheering. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's like it is literally like a stadium wave. Like if somebody starts having a bad line at the entrance to Gorilla, so at the rapid called Pencil Sharpener, which is above the notch, like it's all downhill from there. Like it is this this just total snowball effect where if somebody has a bad line coming off of that drop,
And
then
can you just quickly describe like roughly what those three rapids are going to look like for people who are just listening who
I
maybe
mean,
don't know exactly what
like
we're talking about?
pencil sharpener, there's three different lines you can run. Far left is a little double booth, but you have to smear the rock wall, like so you ride all the way up onto the rock wall, and then it's like a little 3 foot booth, and then in the middle then is well just next to that line is the gas pedal, which is a little bit straighter, but it's still these like it's a 2 foot booth into like a 3 foot booth with a ledge hole, and then the in the middle of that rapid, which is the line that I usually run, is this like 8 foot booth that has essentially you just land on rocks and but it's the fastest line. It's the most straight line to send you into the notch. And then the notch is 15 feet downstream. And the notch is like 3 feet wide and then you have to make a 90-degree left-hand turn, which a lot of people forget that there is a 90-degree left-hand turn in the green race, and it is right there. And so you make that left-hand turn, and then after you make that left-hand turn, the launching pad of gorilla is in your face, and there are 1,000 people screaming at you, and like literally people, you could, if you let go of your paddle and reached up your left hand, you could grab somebody's foot if you wanted to. Like there are people right there just sitting on the side of the river.
Yeah, I think it might be one of the most amazing spectator events I've ever seen or been a part of, just to see so many people like not in the river, but basically in the river.
Hanging like in the river.
It's unbelievable. I would like for people who are like listening at home, like you need to go stop listening to this for a second and Google it because it's like the most incredibly full riverbank like you could possibly imagine, and it's not easy for those people to get there either, which I think is like the other equally impressive part.
Yeah, those people all have tried very hard, and they have earned their view of the green at that point. I mean, it's a 3.5 mile hike in, and the last like 1,000 feet is pretty much straight vertical. And yeah, they all want to come and see the show.
It's a show. Let's talk about the ladies category for a minute. You have been pretty dominant for a long time, but now there is a growing contingent of up and coming, total badass shredder women out there. Are you worried this is going to be, an upset?
I don't really get upset. This year, I mean, if there was any year that somebody was going to come in and beat me, it would probably be this year. I mean, I'm not exactly in the best of health, and I haven't really been doing that much training, but I don't really have. I saw Hannah Cortez out here today. She just got her first green lap in this morning. But I don't really have a very good hold on who's going to be coming in for the green race. I'm pretty cut off this year because I've been traveling.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point, you're just trying to race your own race, right? So, although it's
Yeah,
good to know who's out there, it's like also doesn't really matter.
yeah. I am the kind of person where I'm happy about my race as long as I feel like I did my best. And the people that I look for to race against are like Tommy Hillicky and I have always gone kind of back and forth, and he beat me by 1/10 of a second last year, which I'm just gonna throw it out there. John Grace runs the like whole timing and essentially the whole race, and John Grace and Tommy are like best friends. They've been best friends for like 25 years. And I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm not saying that Grace rigged it, but I think that shit was rigged.
Wow.
Because
Okay, you heard it here first. Green race is rigged, says Adriene Levknecht, 10-time winner.
just between me and Tommy Hillicky though, like that's I was like, there is no way. And Tommy was like, oh, I crashed here and I did this and blah blah blah. And he of course doesn't have a GoPro on. So I'm like,
Very convenient.
Yeah, imagine that.
Mm.
But so like I'm looking at those guys and but if I have a clean race lap and I know that I've like kind of put the work in, then I utilize that day as like a family reunion essentially.
Who is your top pick in the men's category?
Oh man, there's a few dark horses out there this year. I think Holt is gonna do really well from Long Creek, and
Who is that? I don't know who that is. Give us a rundown.
Holt got third last year. He's a KLCG kid from Long Creek, where the Chattooga is in Georgia, South Carolina area, and yeah, he got third last year. He's he's fast. He's
Do you think Dane is gonna do it again? Do you think he's gonna go sub 4 minutes? Like he's training right now. He looks like he's in shape.
Dane is in China right now.
Yeah, but he's gonna be at altitude. Like he's gonna be in shape when he comes back.
Dane's always in shape, dude. You know that. Um, yeah, I don't. He will not go sub 4 this year. With the level, there is no way. I'd be amazed if we had people that were breaking the 420 mark this year with the level that we have.
Okay, so you don't think Dane is gonna be a contender, or what's
No,
your vote? Just
I
not
still
sub
think
4.
I don't. He will not be sub 4. But I do think that he will be right up. I mean, he'll always be right up in there. Shoot, that poor guy was the bridesmaid for like 3 years.
Yeah, I
So
mean
and he
he's
finally
got his
won.
laps in. He knows
Yeah,
what's up.
yeah, he knows where to go. But yeah, and I can't really think of any like international contingent that's coming in.
What about your like up and comers? Like, can you think of anyone who it's their first screen race who you're excited to see race?
Ooh, first grade. I don't really know anybody. I'm sorry, I don't really know anybody in the first. I'm really lame. I don't actually kayak on the green anymore. I
Yeah, I
don't.
guess once you know the lines, you know the lines.
Yeah,
Wait,
like I mean, honestly,
go,
like
go,
I think
Vikings.
I've done like 4 laps on the green this whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, I did more laps on the Ottawa.
Wow. That is not good training for the green at extreme low flows.
No, it's not.
We'll be right now, but I think that's not typical. All right, so there you have it. I think that's pretty much all we've got to talk about on the Green River Narrows race, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. Adriene, where can people find you on social media to find out how you're doing on the old race day?
My Instagram is balancing_Adriene, and my Facebook is at Dagger Kayaks.
Very good, very good, very good. Anything else you want to say before we sign off here?
Thanks for listening, and make sure you tune in for the greatest show in sports.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for taking the time to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If that's how you listen to us, I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. I will see you, or you'll hear me in a couple of weeks. Peace.